Hi, welcome back to Podpadstudios. The fire engine is up on the table again. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Well, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because I am now working on some detailing, adding some more bits and pieces. I'm doing a lot of painting on it now to weather things down, to make things look right. And I'm mainly working on that because I've sorted out the foam and the water system. Now, I say I've sorted it out. I haven't done any final testing yet, as in been out and really driven it around and done all that. But on the test bench, it's working really, really well. So what have I done? Well, it's really simple, actually. I've switched everything around. I'm now running, if you remember, I was talking about putting foam on the top nozzle. I've now changed that and I've got water on the top and I moved foam to the bottom. To beef the top up, I've added a second pump. So I'm now running 4 pumps. That's basically 2 pumps on each side. With 2 pumps on that, it now knocks a water stream out a good 5 meters, which is exactly what I wanted. And flow rate is about 5 litres a minute. So it is emptying the tank pretty quickly, but it looks quite good. The foam has worked because I've basically moved it to the lower nozzle. Now, I've moved it to the lower nozzle for 2 reasons. The primary reason is obviously when you spray a water jet, it can go a long distance, but when you spray the foam, I need to create a kind of more of a fan. And that liquid then starts going everywhere, and it was going all over the cab. It was just going everywhere, and it didn't look right. It was messy. By moving it to the lower section, that eliminates that problem. Also, I think it looks better coming from the lower. I never really considered that, but actually running it on the lower, it looks good. There was one problem. Where the venturi is inside, basically where I've got the venturi and I've got the foam concentrate canister, they are now above the level of the nozzle. Now, what this has done is, unfortunately, it's created a siphoning effect. Not when the pumps are running. When the pumps are running, it's fine. I turn everything off. The water isn't coming out, no problem at all. But it's siphoning from the foam concentrate container because that's being drawn up through a vacuum and it's siphoning through and it's dribbling foam concentrate out of the front. So I had to solve that. Now, I was just going to put just a straight tap on it. And I thought, no, I'll do it properly. So I've basically done it with one of these things. Now, the one I've actually used, believe it or not, these are both 12-volt solenoids. I've actually used this one. So these are basically what a solenoid is. For those of you that don't know, I'll show you with this one. The water flows through and it's a switch. So when I apply power to this, it turns off the flow of the liquid, whatever that liquid might be going through there. And this is the same, but this is just absolutely tiny. What this has done, though, is because I put this on the inlet with the smaller bore, it's increased the velocity of the liquid. So actually it's pushing more concentrate through now, and it just looks so much better. Of course, the other advantage of this is it can be switchable via the radio. What that means is that my top nozzle is squirting water exclusively. My bottom nozzle can now squirt water, or with the flick of a switch can squirt foam, because the concentrate bottle is controlled now via a solenoid. That's made a huge difference. It's actually to be able to go from water on both. Also, it might be that I go to venues and I can't squirt foam because they're just not happy with the way it looks. Whereas nobody really objects to squirting water because it's water, isn't it? So that's a huge advantage as well. The dual pumps on each side make a big difference. Or I already had a dual pump on the foam system, but I've now got a dual pump on the water system. And as I said, it knocks a jet of water 5 meters now, and it looks really, really good. Hi, brief update on my foam system for the fire engine. I had a eureka moment. And believe it or not, I've actually solved my problem. I'll do some test video for you so you can see. But the other day I actually managed to get out between the rainstorms and the snow, and it's working. How did I do it? How did I solve the problem? I'm going to go through it very briefly because I know I've rabbited on about this quite a lot. So for those of you that have been following the videos over the months, you know that I've had the foam system. I want one of the nozzles on the fire engine to squirt foam and I want one to squirt water. I've actually swapped them around, so I've now got the foam system on the lower nozzle and the water on the top nozzle. The reason for that is it's just foam when it squirts out, it's quite messy. It was going all over the cab. It was better to put it on the bottom system. It also looks cooler, so it's now on the bottom system. But in effect, both systems are identical. the foam system goes through one of these things, which is basically an adductor or a venturi or whatever you want to call it. But all it does is water flows through, is pumped through here, through a narrowing sort of tube. Vacuum is created. It then pulls up the foam solution through here, which is mixed, and it exits through the nozzle. That simple. And you'd think it's that simple, wouldn't you? And that's where my problem was. I assumed that this was just working. And it was. The one I actually have on the fire engine is transparent, it's clear. So I can clearly see the foam solution, which is actually dyed red, pulling up into this unit, and I can see it pooling in here. And I did notice every time I fired the, fired the water, the initial shot I got of foam was great. But then 10 seconds later, I was just getting water. And I noticed that it wasn't going red in here, which means that it doesn't look like I was getting foam solution coming through. So I did a little test, and I used a measuring jug instead of the foam container. Put my tubes down into my measuring jug, and I measured the amount of concentrate that I was using for a given amount of water that I was spraying, pushing through here. And I just wasn't using enough foam solution. It was that simple. So what I was spraying out was so diluted, it couldn't have foamed up even if it tried. I did make another mistake, and I had to use, because I've now put the foam system on the lower nozzle, this is now above the lower nozzle going out. So unfortunately, I've created a siphoning problem. Easy to solve. What I did is take a solenoid, which is what this little gadget is here, and simply put it in line there. So all we've got is basically, and then obviously this goes down into the pump, the foam container. That will go off into the foam container. So foam is pumped up through the solenoid into here. I turn the solenoid off. I don't get any siphoning then through the front nozzle. It solves my problem. Also, added benefit, I can turn the foam system on and off. So I can actually run with the solenoid turned off and spray water out of the bottom nozzle, or turn this on and then foam concentrate is drawn through. Now, one thing I did notice is I wasn't really drawing much foam concentrate through at all. And I think it was due to the size of the solenoid. It is a bit diddy. And if you look at the normal bore of pipe that I'm using, compared to the pipe bore that I'm having to put on the solenoid, you can now see the difference. And that's why I wasn't drawing enough through. One of the reasons. I've upgraded that. I'm using these, which is exactly the same bore as the adductor. Much bigger, much chunkier, exactly the same thing. It's just a solenoid, does the same thing. It's just, well, it does the same thing, it's just a bigger version. That now solves my problem with regards to the pipe flow, the size of the pipe, because I can now go to the full size pipe straight onto there. So effectively, same thing happens. That's connected there like that. Set it all up, tested it. Still not getting that much flow. Tested it in the measuring jug. Again, I simply wasn't getting enough concentrate mixing with the flow of the liquid coming out of here. So that got me thinking that the vacuum, it's just not pulling enough fluid through the vacuum. I guess it's to do with the design of these and the design of the one I got on the fire engine. And so I just thought to myself, well, okay, why don't I think of this in terms of, instead of thinking of it in terms of a vacuum system, of a venturi, think of it just in terms of it's just a mixing container. And why don't I do this? Why don't I simply take a pump, connect the pump to the solenoid, and connect the solenoid to the venturi, like this. And instead of using a vacuum to pull through the foam, use a pump, use a small pump. These tiny little windscreen wiper pumps deliver about 200 millilitres a minute. So percentage-wise, probably, I'm getting a mix of probably about 3 or 4% from one of these. Now, I basically still keep the solenoid in there, so I can obviously turn all this off. But what I've effectively done is connected the pump and the solenoid to the same power system. When I now turn on the solenoid, it turns on the pump. It pushes fluid, the foam concentrate, into the mix. The water's coming in here, and eureka! I got a perfect foam spray mix. It's taken me long enough, but I got it. Also helped by the fact that I've changed the nozzles. I've been doing lots of 3D printing of different types of nozzles to fit on the front, because I still need to agitate the mix as it leaves the nozzle. That way we just get even more foam. So here I've been printing, so I've, rough surfaces on the inside. Here I've gone a little bit bigger, and I've thought about putting holes in it to draw air through. I've compromised. I've got a design on it at the moment, which I'll do a video, I'll do a close-up on the fire engine to show you. Works brilliantly. Works really, really well. I've got rid of all of these tiny little valves that I had on there to control the flow, because effectively I'm now simply controlling the flow with this. Now, one thing I did want to test was, I wasn't sure about running these for a long period of time. These are designed to sit, these are car windscreen wiper pumps. They're only really designed to run for 10, 15, 20 seconds. What will the effect of that be? Well, with any pump, is overheating. So the best way to test it is to test it. And I've run this pump for certainly longer than 30 seconds. I've run it for about 5 minutes continuously. Got warm, but it was fine. So the maximum time I'm ever going to be running my water spray on is 2 minutes, because after 2 minutes my water's depleted. So this is more than capable of delivering the foam mix that I need. What I am going to do is fit a variable voltage control system to this, so I can put 12 volts into this, or I can vary it, take it down to 6, so I can have 6, 9 different steps, meaning by changing the voltage on this, I can vary the amount of foam that's injected into here, so potentially controlling my foam mix. So I've got away with a mechanical way of doing it, and I'm going to use an electronic way of doing it, and it works, and it works. So it's all off the table now. I'm just fitting the electronic control system for the foam pump. I've got to get that put in here, and I'm putting it in here so we can get to everything. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the status of our world record. Now, we know this is a one-off. It's a unique piece. There is simply nothing like this anywhere of this scale. So I feel comfortable to say that this is it's a world record, and absolutely a UK record, for the largest radio-controlled model ARFF. Now, we just thought it'd be quite cool if we could contact the likes of Guinness World Records to get this kind of, I don't know, not official, because there isn't really an official, but to get it listed as, on a website and get a certificate to say that it was, and that would be really cool. That'd be really, really nice. And then we could then use this. The aim is to take this out to lots and lots of charity events, see if we can raise loads of money for charity with this. However, we have heard back from Guinness, and even though they're very excited in their email about the fact that this is a world record holder and there's nothing quite like it, and yes, we can move forwards with our claim, unfortunately they are going to charge us for that privilege. Now, I don't know why naively I thought that it was going to not cost a lot of money, because these companies are set up to make money. I mean, Guinness World Records it's about world records. That's their business. So they're not going to do it for free, are they? Of course they're not. And obviously they make a great deal of money themselves through all these world records. I think it was a bit of a shock when we were told how much. And it was a very polite email, very nice email. And we've had several of these emails saying, come on, let's pursue this, let's move forwards, because we feel that this is a great thing to do. But £10,000, which is what it is quite a lot of money, and I can make quite a lot of these models for £10,000. So really, that's kind of where we're ending that journey with Guinness. I can't. I'm not critical of. If you want to register a world record, it costs you 10 grand. Okay, fair enough. I mean, they're a business. They've got money. They've got to make money. So I get it. It's fine. But it's more, I can't justify it. I mean, I'm sure some bigger companies could justify that. They've got a world record holding item which they can go off and make lots and lots of money with. And then 10 grand is a drop in the ocean. But for us, considering we're going to use this for charity, we're not going to make any money out of this. That's just money we just can't invest. And as I said, that's £10,000 I can put into lots of other builds and then have much more fun and get them out so people can see them. Right, outside at last, it's stopped raining, so we can do a bit of testing. And as you can see, I've been doing a bit of testing and I've had a eureka moment and it works! The foam system works. Right, what have I done? How have I done it? Now, I'm going to show you, I can spray water from the top, water from the bottom, and this is really cool now. So watch, I'm going to spray a little bit of water from the bottom. That's just water that comes out of the bottom system at the moment. Now, a little bit of residual foam in there because we've been playing with foam. Here's the fun bit. Because I fitted the solenoid and I now fitted a foam concentrate pump, we can now pump foam concentrate through into the nozzle, mix it with air in the nozzle, and we get foam. So I'm going to do that now. So if you watch the nozzle, you can actually see when I flick the switch on the radio, and I'll come to there, look, you can see when I flick one switch on the radio, I can eject foam concentrate purely on its own.
Pump engaged.
Then I can turn it off. That's purely foam concentrate. Without the water, of course, it won't do anything, and without the air agitation, it won't do anything. So here we go. I'm going to do a foam, give you an idea of the foam that it can actually produce. So foam concentrate, water.
Mode 2.
And there you have it. It works. Now, obviously, you're not getting like massive jets of foam coming out simply because on that basis, I've only got 30 seconds more left and my water containers are empty. Water can't scale. And because water can't scale, I can't get like massive flows of water without having enormous tanks, which then this can't move because basically it weighs too much. So that's why the real things weigh 40, 50 odd tons. Mine weighs about 50 kilos. I've done it. It works. We have foam. I can now terrorise Mrs. Breaker. Or clean the patio.